Rebellion AS, The Journey of Ichabod Azrael and the Dead Left in His Wake. Hell Will Not Stop Him. Creative Director and CEO Jason Kingsley, Chief Technical Officer Chris Kingsley, Publishing Manager Ben Smith, 2000 AD Editor-in-Chief Matt Smith, Graphic Novels Editor Keith Richardson, Graphic Design Simon Parr and Sam Gretton, Repro Graphics Catherine Symes, PR and Marketing Michael Molser. The Grievous Journey of Ichabod Azrael and the Dead Left in His Wake, Number 1, published by Rebellion, Riverside House, Osney, Mead, Oxford, OX2, 0ES. All content, copyright 2010-2015 Rebellion, AS. All rights reserved. Ichabod Azrael is a trademark of Rebellion AS. Reproduction. Storage in a retrieval system or transmission in any form or by any means is whole or part without prior permission of Rebellion AS is strictly forbidden. No similarity between any of the fictional names, characters, persons, and or institutions herein with those of any living or dead persons or institutions is intended except for satirical purposes, and any such similarity is purely coincidental. Printed in Korea by Trivision Inc., 3807 Wilshire Boulevard, Suite 1109, Los Angeles, California, 90010. His name was Ichabod, and he was a killer. That much cannot be denied. Later on, of course, he would be known as Ichabod Azrael, an unusual moniker. Some say that was his birth name. Others say that history passed this mantle upon him on the account of his actions and the legend that grew thereof. These things should not concern you, however. All that matters at this juncture is that his name was Ichabod, and he was a killer. I wish I could tell you that Ichabod's father was taken to drink, or disciplined by the belt and fist, that life immediately treated the boy as if would a loathsome enemy. But the way I heard it, his upbringing was hard, but normal for one the age. I guess some people are just born mean. Stories vary over when Ichabod first drew the blood of another. I even heard a song one night by a campfire that told how his baptism saw him facing down 20 rifle-packing men on horseback, armed with only one pistol. The next day, Ichabod owned 20 new horses. Or so the story went. He ran with a notorious group of bushwhackers in the virgin days of the war between the states. A great deal of mayhem and mishap occurred at the hands. Many pro-Union men visited the kingdom. Many brave men of the South did similar. They were days of heavy darkness. Loss was a kinsman to all. Eventually, Ichabod chose to set out alone. His Missouri companions, unnerved by the severity of his continued presence, did not argue with his choice. In a landscape of chaos, the clarity of a cause can often become obscured. Some just seized the opportunity to kill with impunity. These were dangerous days to be abroad. God-fearing families gathered their possessions and fled the region so they might find some semblance of safety. Many souls were lost. Ichabod's notoriety grew, and that is not a good thing for an outlaw. Eventually, the city of Corinth held one funeral too many at his hands, the loss of an idealistic new lawman being the final capacious wound. And so Bloody Bill Sterling and his boys were hired. Killed more men than marriage, so Bloody Bill's legend went. His was an unerring aim, almost supernatural in nature and available for hire to any cause, regardless of its moral merit. A reckoning was coming for Ichabod. Yet the ghost of luck rode with him a while longer, for it was then that he disappeared. No word was heard of him for a full 4 months. Some poised that he was killed, finally defeated in a knife fight by a monstrous, strong Injun, I heard. Others said that the devil himself took him in that winter to finalize the minutiae of a previously agreed legal contract. One man I spoke to claimed he knew the real truth of Ichabod's invisibility, that he had a secret love who would take him in for long periods and offer him solace. That she, a rare natural beauty of angelic grace, was the only thing on this earth that could tame his clawing rage and give him something akin to peace. Of course, this was nonsense. The snows eventually passed, however. Sure enough, Ichabod returned to Corinth, as a predator always will to bountiful lands filled with ample prey. Place that accusing stare somewhere else, boy. Age did not deter me from discipline. Yes, Bloody Bill and his men laid in wait. Theirs was the patience of a poor young beauty who wed a wealthy, ebullient septuagenarian, and the deflection of missiles was not within Ichabod's considerable skill set. He took down 7 of them nonetheless. Even in considerable agonies his shot was fearsome. His steed had perished, and Ichabod was wounded grievous, his lifeblood easing away to memory. Yet somehow, through an impure determination, he avoided Bloody Bill and exited Corinth. He died just steps beyond the city limits. And then the second part of Ichabod's story begins. A man to whom fear was a friend would no doubt have been mightily unnerved by the most unexpected of occurrences. Many, I'm sure, would have bade farewell to their sanity and seen their consciousness drift to the dust as a result. But if fear had ever visited Ichabod Azrael, he did not comment upon its tendency. He had enjoyed no miraculous escape. The fulsome ventilation of his moral wounds testified to that. Yet the awful pain of his recent disagreement with Bloody Bill and his boys had vanished like his conscience many years hence. Ichabod was many things, but a fool was not among their number. He was dead, and his path to the kingdom had long been unattainable. So he decided this must be the other place, which meant the unrealistic agony currently rode in his direction. Reckoning was coming, but Ichabod still had his revolvers. The chambers, however, lay as empty as his store of mercy. And now the killing time had arrived. "Ichabod! We've come for you, Ichabod. Your guns are empty now. You've got no power here. It's time to finally pay your dues, son." Ichabod considered those words. They had an effect on him. His crimes were many, and even those freed by iniquity never truly escape the knowledge that theirs is but a temporary pass from justice. He found that at the moment, to his surprise, that he could leave behind a blackened life of bubbling blood, smashed bone, and fractured teeth with relative ease. But there was one thing he could not leave behind. The grace, the speed, and impossibility of Ichabod's attack took his assailant by surprise. What subsequently happened to the lead horseman, however, shook even Ichabod. Ah! It seemed that, despite already suffering murder most grievous, you did not want to die in this new world. As ever, where there was life, there was also something to fear, the unknown to be sucked down into. The other horsemen had no desire to follow their compatriot on the road to antediluvian agonies. With numbers as their advantage, they still felt confident of their chances of success. Their conviction was misplaced, however, and being recently killed had not exactly improved Ichabod's mood. Ah! How in the... Hell, is that where you were going to take me, friend? That's that's not my decision to make. Pulling the trigger will avail you not. The noose still hangs from a tree that you grew with your life nefarious actions. What thread is that rope to me, boy? I'm already murdered. Kingdom wept. It was a metaphor. You ain't the sharpest spur on the boot, are you? A strange time to choose to insult me. Metaphors have power here, boy. Ideas shine like 49ers' pockets, and guilt is a currency all of its own. You got to go to the river. All souls have to. Then you'll find out true summation of living actions. You send me down to the dark place now. Others will come after. An army will rise against you if need be and drag you to the water's edge. The rules here, son, rules that have to be obeyed. Now, I don't know how you took me and my boys down. I don't know how there's working bullets in them guns where none can exist here. There's something unusual about you for a mortal soul, I'll admit, but you're going to the river regardless. The river? Where is that? That way, over yonder. It's a terrible, difficult route, though. I could lead you there if you... I'll find it. Shh, now. No peace now. No peace. Will you carry me, steed? I killed your masters, true, but don't hold that against me now. If you know the path, will you take me to the river? I have a need that aches at me. You see, a need to find my way back to my love. Will you take me to the river, steed? To Ichabod, the blurred steed seemed to be following a definite, recalled path in its journey to the river. He was happy to bow to its knowledge of a landscape that, while greatly resembling the one he had walked upon in living days, perpetually shifted, pulsed, and denied him ease, like a rattlesnake coiled and agitated. The place, like his recent assailants and steed, seemed to him perpetually distorted. Time was similarly strange. He felt the conviction that they had traveled for many days, but hunger, thirst, and sleep visited him not. He was, it seemed, beyond such concerns. He was being watched, however. A wanted man had an instinct for surveillance. It was how he stayed alive. He would often forget that this definition of his status could no longer be claimed. The boy, he recalled, the boy with the dead eyes. His had been the shot that took Ichabod's life. His aim had been the navigator of the dull, wet thump that forced the failing breath from Ichabod's lips, that took him away from her. Oh, what may have been the 12th day he finally spied the odd, lone figure, stumbling across the landscape, all being called towards the same point. 2 days later he was amazed to spy a train. The carriages filled with light, overflowing with people, human sounds following it across the vista, and the sounds were screams. When Ichabod finally caught sight of his destination, he understood the dark dismay of the vehicle's cargo. Screams were not within his vocabulary, and empathy lay dead in his chest, but here. He understood the emotion strong and true. Countless millions of dead souls, all come to the river, forward towards judgment. They waited in never-ending line to be taken on to their next destination. Ichabod planned to commandeer their transport and alter its course, returning him home. He had immoral ways to convince individuals that his chosen path was their own. "Hey, there's a queue here. He ain't a blurred one. I've been here forever, and he just rides on past. Like my sister always said, The rabbit hops random while the coyote... Jesus wept. Not another rabbit antidote. Someone get me away from this leopardized-obsessed harpy. I beg of you. I ain't been sent to hell yet, but it surely feels like it. No. Were I to sever my own dead ears, I would still hear her tales of hopping, twitchy-nosed morality, I fear. Ha ha ha! It's you! It's really you! I don't believe it! Oh, thank you! The Lord finally smiles upon me. You know me, boy? Oh! I guess you could say that. Yes, I certainly do. You are mistaken. Many souls stand here. You honestly think I'm mistaken about the evil son of a bitch who forced this hole into me? Who took my precious life, who ripped away my future against my will? Well, someone finally put a bullet in you. Praise be, and now I get to watch you get dragged down to the fat deputy in Corinth. Zebulon Crow, yes, sir. Ain't never killed a man twice before, Zebulon. First time for everything. You're out of line, friends. Name's Gleason. Lower that hammer while you're at it. Why don't you tell me how come you've been riding that horse, you being mortal and all? Well, now I could tell you that. I found him wandering out on the plains there, but we both know that would be a mistruth, and I abhor compromise. Kill 4 blurred horsemen. Took one's ride. Yep. I'll just go back to the line, my friend, and our mutual love of rabbits to discuss. Ichabod, nice talking to you. Great to catch up. Hold there. Don't you get it? You're a mortal soul. You're dead. You're cattle. You go where we say. You wait in line. You weep. You scream. You beg to go return to the warmth of your loved ones, and we laugh and kick you down to dirt and drag you screaming to judgment. You don't kill horsemen. You can't kill horsemen. Figure you're wrong about that. Ah! Now look what you've done. You've gone and made me look bad. Get back in line. This is not your concern. Turn around and wait for judgment. My apologies for mounting you in this manner, sir. Rest assured, the Sexual Congress is the furthest thing from the mind of General Nathaniel M. Bergerard at this point. Oh, no. You wish my proclivity were otherwise? You are a good-looking boy, if slightly overweight, and it's been decades since my last erotic adventure, but... Oh, I see now what your refrain referred to. My apologies. That hurt, damn you! A rare and terrible speed of thought and of deed had always been Ichabod's to call upon in risk-filled moments. But, dazed as he was by the demon's blow, he had no way of avoiding the blurred horseman's net, and so captivity and eternal doom loomed o'er him. And then, from the first time in his history, alive or otherwise, something truly extraordinary happened. Another soul came to Ichabod's aid. Ha! Adventure! Sir, after all these years stood in line crazed by infinite rabbit-related metaphors, it stirs my blood. Come, we must escape and place great distance between us and this terrible shoreline. Or run directly towards it. He has guns. I suggest we follow. An anticipated strategy, true, to head for the place of final judgment. Agreed. As I told my men before our entirely weaponless charge upon the massed engines of the Scalper's Gorge, always unleash the unexpected upon the enemy. Companionship, or the fate of others, had never been Ichabod's concern, And in this instance, naught had changed. His desire here, regardless the weight of numbers against him, was pure and absolute, and no obstacle would tarry him long from the weight of that need. He believed that putrefying vessel crossing the great river had the ability to return him to the world of warmth and color. That its oarsmen could be violently persuaded to take him back. To her. Baff! Ah, did that hurt some? I do hope so. It's only fair I return the compliment after all. You see, your unexplained bullets actually cause me pain, and I cannot recall the last time a mortal sullied me so. And pain is something a demon knows. As per the great agreement, I have commanded horsemen and herded souls here for countless lifetimes, but I cannot recall a mortal ever fighting for freedom like you, nor one having the ability to so harm my blurred kin. We caught his two accomplices, Gleason. They ain't with me. Sweet that you should attempt to protect them. Maybe I will eviscerate them right now, just so you can watch, just so I can see how you react. You see, I'm all kinds of curious when it comes to what makes you tick, what gets you fighting and killing like this. So how's about I take a look? What do you want, little mortal? It's love. She is awful pretty. I'll grant you that, although her interest in one of as polluted as yourself does seem somewhat unlikely. Kill you. I don't often go for mortals, but maybe I'll head down to the color world and visit the little lady myself. Procure the mind of the local boy. Pop on over while she sleeps, just to check up on her, you understand? It must be great awful lonely out in those fields without a man to keep her safe. The vision and the threat was real, and occurring now. It was not a fantasy. Ichabod knew how the demon could be in two places at once. What he did know for certain, though, was that this new world had an incisive way of causing you agony. With you away, what will that poor, helpless girl do for warmth and companionship? I tell you, some of the dire occurrences that befall the innocent in these troubled times is a crying shame. Watch. Begone, Gleason. Huh? Ichabod was freed from his appalling grasp, although not from the torture of the demon's ferocious violation. He did not fully understand what had just occurred, whether his love was safe, who the old man in question was, or what his continuing connection to Ichabod may be. But he did know one thing, and that was rage. Legends are written far too easily in modern days, oft without merit. But even in his own tale had ended right there, Ichabod's longevity would have been assured. For in that moment of egregious fury, he did something no mortal had ever achieved since long before the days of the Great Agreement. He ended a demon. Some merrily stepped forward to try and gain a better vantage point of the extraordinary sight. Some backed away, fearful and inevitable and imminent reprisals. Their intention, however, was not important. The queue was broken. That would not be allowed to pass. And so fear was restored. A grave, frozen fear fell upon all, the sort that none could even explain, as if their soul knew something secret and awful, and their conscious mind did not. The desire for flight and panic was overwhelming, and all accepted it without query. Nearly all. How did you... Well now, a demon's tusk. A fine and rare trophy. You would look into my heart. This is my heart, demon. Tell me how I get back. Tell me how I get back, or I'll take the other tusk. Friend, we have to go. We have to go now. Tell me the boat on the river can take me back. That old thing? No. It's part of the river. It has only one purpose. Only. How? It can't be done. A mortal cannot. Ichabod! How? Rogue, demon, and angels. Pariah spirits. Out on the wastelands. Some of them travel back and forth between this and the color world. But they are awfully rare. Tell me something before you go. You ever ponder how exactly a girl like that could fall in love with a filthy soul like you? Might want to just ask yourself that. Back in line, cattle. With no horse left to carry him and no other route available, Ichabod set off on foot and headed as far from the great river as he felt possible. The wasteland, Gleason said, contained rogue demons and angels, pariah spirits, some of whom occasionally traveled across to the living world. Finding one of the anomalies became Ichabod's zealous aim, although capturing anything in this apathetic expanse soon struck him as being far beyond difficult. The night came without scale or sense of reason, a random, ambiguous occurrence. During these hours, strange, unrecognized lights shimmered and danced across the sky plateau. Some moved with an alacrity akin to shooting stars. Ichabod briefly wondered if there were freshly killed souls newly arriving. He pondered the subject of his weapons also. No bullets were held in either, yet endless ammunition was his to deliver as he saw fit, it seemed. And the cannon-like blasts that he dispensed during the encounter with the demon, were there them? And the old man. Twice now he has appeared before Ichabod, once in Corinth, and then again to protect Ichabod's love from the demon. Black and white jarring against blood-fueled color, like an uninvited visitor from beyond the living. Mysteries scratched and clawed at Ichabod's repose. Pink, pink. And they were not alone, it seems. Ho, friend, blessed mercies, what a rare coincidence this is. I was just saying to Zabulian, here, Zabulian, I said, we could wander for centuries and never meet another soul, let alone someone we knew and valued. And he replied, indeed, Ichabod, what strange, peculiar fate that we should meet you once again. And valued. I told you he wouldn't believe us. You're going to have to tell him. It was your unconvincing overweight performance that caused him to see through our cunning deception. My clandestine knowledge of the great conspiracy is too terrible to speak aloud, sir. I beg you to not have me air it in company. If you hold information and it involves me, you would be advised to reveal it. Yes, well, sir, if you insist. I have been aware for some time of a covert movement with most terrible intentions, and your arrival at the river and the following violence greatly confirms this. They wish us silenced, and I know who exactly they are. Spike, it's the Indians. I swear I didn't know he was going to say that. No doubt, my friends, I offer only the truth. I'm so sorry. He told me he knew who was behind it. That's all, and we just wanted to stay with you out here for protection. My bloody demise at Scalper's Gorge was not enough for them. No, they have followed me into the next realm, seeking my eternal end. They're all fine judges of character, then. Sandstorm! You see, I am proved correctly they are in control of the very elements. Again, I really can't apologize enough. Visibility quickly disappeared like the money of an inebriated blind gambler in a dishonest casino. Ichabod's irritation towards General M. Beauregard was instantly forgotten, replaced by a dizzying discombobulation. It felt for all the world as though the very nature of the environment was attempting to keep Ichabod from reaching his goal. He cared little for nature, however, and defined it thus. Place one foot in front of another and repeat, he thought. That was ever enough. Eventually, he would find something. So, it is decided. Whatever lies beyond the cowboy's power. He has felled one of mine, and rebellion is unnatural here. The horsemen are sent, and will ride him down, but I do not hold out hope for their success. Hope has never been welcomed here, Langan. Only a fool thinks otherwise. Know your place, Charon. You are a servant, a cog of functionality, nothing more. You have your orders. Release him from his prison. This is grave folly, but I obey.
I am released?
You are.
Why?
There is a soul for you to find. An end. Do so and freedom will be returned to you.
It will be good to kill again.